picture this for a second. It's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You are sitting in a meeting that definitely could have been an email, or maybe you're just staring at a spreadsheet until the numbers blur and you drift off.
We've all been there.
You start dreaming about Hawaii, you see the white sand, the turquoise water, maybe a Mai Tai in your hand with that little umbrella. It's the universal dream.
It is the ultimate screensaver fantasy.
Exactly. But here's the thing about dreams versus reality, especially when we look at the logistics of actually making that dream happen. When you sit down to book that trip, the reality isn't a hammock. It's a web browser with 45 tabs open. It can feel a little bit like the Wild West.
It really is. You type Hawaii tours or things to do in Oahu into a search engine, and you're not just given a curated list, you are hit with a tsunami.
A tsunami.
Flashy websites, promises of hidden gems that thousands of other people are somehow also booking, and 5-star ratings that look suspiciously similar across 50 different companies.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about the source material we have today is that it peels back that glossy layer. Beneath the surface, the tourism industry in places like Oahu is incredibly complex and, frankly, unregulated in areas you just wouldn't expect.
And that is exactly what we are digging into today. We are looking beyond the postcard.
Yes.
We have a really interesting stack of documents here: insider guides, compliance checklists, industry reviews.
And some specific operational documents from an operator called Halia Private Tours.
Right, but I want to be clear. The goal here isn't just to talk about one company.
No, not at all.
The listener, the ability to look at a website and instantly distinguish between a glossy brochure and a legitimate, safe operation.
Because, as you'll see, those are often two very different things.
That's the core of it. We're going to look at the red flags that signal an illegal operator, and there are way more of them than you might think. We're going to map out the surprising geography of Oahu, because the island actually has strict laws on where you can and cannot go commercially.
Laws that even some guides ignore.
Oh.
And we're going to do some math.
The math was actually surprising, wasn't it?
It really was. We'll break down why private tours might actually be cheaper than the big bus options, which just sounds counterintuitive.
It does.
And we found a really cool hack in the sources, a way to save a significant chunk of money by actually doing a little bit of good for the island.
A great one.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's unpack this Wild West idea first, because I think most people, myself included, operate on a default assumption.
Which is?
If a company has a nice website, a shiny van, and a Book Now button, they must be legitimate.
That is the most dangerous assumption you can make in travel. One of the documents we're analyzing explicitly warns that a polished web presence does not equal legal compliance.
There's a specific horror story mentioned in the source material that really drives this home. It talks about families who are actually stranded mid-vacation.
Stranded is a heavy word. What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, imagine you're on a tour. You're halfway around the island, maybe stopped at a lookout to take photos.
Okay.
Suddenly, state authorities intervene. Usually the PUC investigators or police. It turns out the operator is non-compliant. No permits, no proper insurance.
Oh, no.
They get shut down right there. The vehicle is impounded or grounded. You're standing on the side of the road in paradise wondering how on earth you're getting back to your hotel.
That is literally my travel nightmare. You spend all this money to relax, and suddenly you're hitchhiking or calling an Uber that's going to cost a fortune.
Exactly. And it happens because the barrier to entry is low. I mean, anyone can buy a used van and build a generic website. But running a legal tour operation, that's a regulatory maze.
So how do we avoid being the family on the side of the road? The sources gave us a bit of an alphabet soup of acronyms to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be careful here because acronyms can be glazing, but these seem pretty critical to your safety.
They are non-negotiable. If you want to ensure you aren't booking with what the industry calls a ghost operator, you need to check for 3 specific things.
Okay.
They should be listed in the footer of the website or the About Us page. First is the PUC number.
Okay, PUC. That stands for Public Utility Commission, right?
Correct. In Hawaii, if you're transporting people for money, you are considered a public utility, just like an electric company or a bus service.
Wow.
If a vehicle doesn't have a valid PUC license, it's a no-go, period.
So what does that mean for me?
It means they aren't regulated for commercial transport. They might not have the required liability insurance, which is a huge deal if there's an accident. and their vehicles aren't subject to the same inspections.
So it's like getting into an unlicensed taxi versus a registered cab. If they don't have the PUC, they are basically just a random person driving a car.
Precisely. The second one is the US DOT number.
Department of Transportation.
Right. And this is crucial if you are booking from out of state, which, let's be honest,
Which is almost everybody, right?
almost everyone traveling to Hawaii is. It's a federal regulation thing regarding interstate commerce. Any operator accepting out-of-state bookings falls under federal jurisdiction to some degree.
So if they're taking my credit card from California, New York, or Texas, they need it?
They are required to have a DOT number. If they don't, they are flying under the federal radar.
Got it. No DOT, no deal.
That seems easy enough to check. What's the third one?
The third one is where it gets nuanced, and I think this is where people get tricked. It's about activity permits. The source emphasizes that a tour isn't just about the van you're riding in, it's about what you're doing.
So if you're hiking or doing water sports?
Hiking, doing water sports, making cultural stops. The operator needs specific permits for those activities.
So it's layers of legitimacy. You need the license to drive the car, but you also need a separate license to lead the hike. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just because someone can drive you to the trailhead doesn't mean they are legally allowed to guide you up the trail.
Yeah.
And this connects directly to safety.
How so?
The source material brings up a really important point about water safety. Hawaii isn't a theme park with controlled variables. The ocean conditions are dynamic, to put it mildly.
Right.
We have images in the source stack showing warning signs for Portuguese man-of-war, jellyfish, sharp coral, and high surf.
Yeah, I saw that photo of the yellow jellyfish sign with the stick figures getting stung. It's a little funny to look at as a graphic, but it's a good reminder that the ocean, there isn't a swimming pool.
It really isn't. And the guide points out that any operator putting guests in the water, snorkeling, surfing, even just swimming at certain beaches, must have lifeguard certified staff.
Really? Lifeguard certified?
Yes. It's not enough to just have a driver who points at the beach and says, "Have fun, be back in an hour." You need someone who knows what to do if a current picks up or if someone gets in trouble.
That's a huge distinction. I usually just look for a friendly guide, not a lifeguard. I didn't even think to check for that certification.
Right, and there's one more layer to the safety stack regarding gear. The DLNR, that's the Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Okay.
If the tour provides gear surfboards, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, even snorkels, that gear has to come from a provider permitted by the DLNR.
Another acronym. But okay, break that down. Why does the government care where my snorkel mask comes from?
It's about accountability and hygiene. Basically, if they're handing you a snorkel mask out of the back of an unmarked van and they don't have these permits, you might want to ask some questions.
Like, are they sanitizing them properly? Is the equipment safe?
Exactly. If something goes wrong with that gear, a permitted operator has a paper trail and standards to meet. A ghost operator does not.
Okay, so we've got the safety checks down. PUC, DOT, DLNR, lifeguard certification. It sounds like a lot of homework, but really you just scroll to the bottom of the About page.
And if they aren't there, you click away. It's a 5-second check that saves you a world of trouble.
But here's where it gets really interesting to me. The sources talk about island-specific rules. I always assume that if I hired a private guide, say I splurged on this Helia company or someone similar, the whole point is that they can take me anywhere I want it to go.
Right.
If I want to see a specific waterfall I saw on Pinterest, they take me. But that's not true, is it?
No, and this is where a lot of tourists get caught in a trap. There's a disconnect between Instagram reality and legal reality.
I like that phrase.
There are specific locations on Oahu where commercial stops are strictly prohibited. The sources list a few that often appear on must-do lists or viral TikToks, but are actually off-limits for tours.
The big one that caught my eye was the Stairway to Heaven.
A haiku stairs.
Yes.
It's iconic, it's dramatic, it's also illegal.
Completely.
Completely. It's closed to the public due to safety concerns and land rights issues. It's trespassing to hike it.
So no legitimate tour operator can take you there?
No. But if you Google it, you will still see shady operators advertising Stairway to Heaven guided hikes.
So if I see that on a brochure or a website, that is an immediate red flag.
Immediate. It tells you they are willing to break the law. And if they're willing to break the law on trespassing, are they maintaining their brakes? Are they carrying insurance?
Probably not.
Probably not. They are taking you with them into illegal territory.
That is a huge aha moment. If the brochure promises the forbidden fruit, the company is rotten.
Well said.
What were the other spots? I saw something about a specific coastline being off limits.
Yes, there's a beautiful stretch of coastline. It's the east side, very scenic, winding roads right next to the water.
I can picture it.
But public beaches in that specific corridor are off limits for commercial stops. So a tour bus or a commercial van can't just pull over and let everyone out for a swim there.
And why is that?
It's a zoning rule to protect the local residents from being overrun by tour buses.
That makes sense. I wouldn't want a bus idling in front of my driveway every 20 minutes either. And I saw something about a botanical garden, too.
You've probably seen photos of it. It has that incredible driveway lined with palm trees with the jagged mountains in the background.
Yeah. It's practically the wallpaper of Instagram travel influencers. I feel like I've seen that photo 1,000 times.
It is stunning. But guided tours are prohibited inside. You can go as an individual. You can rent a car and drive there yourself.
This is such good insider knowledge. It really helps filter out the shady operators. Because the shady ones will promise you everything, right?
Okay.
They'll say, sure, we can take you to the stairway, we can stop at that beach, because they know that's what you want to hear.
Exactly. Compliance means saying no sometimes. A legitimate operator like Halia, which the source uses as a case study for compliance, will be upfront about these restrictions.
Right. They'll just tell you, we can't go there because it's not legal.
They won't lie to you just to get the booking.
So let's pivot to the experience itself. We've covered safety and rules. Now let's talk about the actual vacation. The source material spends a lot of time comparing group tours versus private tours. And honestly, when I hear private tour, I instantly think expensive? Luxury.
Out of my budget.
Totally.
Yep.
I picture a limousine and champagne and a price tag that requires a second mortgage.
That is the common perception. We associate private with exclusive and wealthy. But if we look at the breakdown of the source guide, there is a significant financial myth bust happening here.
Okay.
The source argues that private tours, particularly the way Halia describes them, aren't about white glove luxury. They describe the vibe as laid back and flexible.
Laid back speaks my language. But what about the cost? How can a private van be comparable to a seat on a bus?
Here's the math. Let's say you're looking at a standard group bus tour. You're paying per head. Maybe it's, $150 or $200 per person for a full day.
Sounds about right.
If you are a solo traveler or a couple, the bus is definitely cheaper. But the source claims that once you have a group of about 4 to 6 people,
A family or two couples traveling together.
a family of 4, exactly, the math changes.
Because you're paying a flat rate for the private vehicle?
Exactly. The private tour is usually a fixed price for the vehicle and guide, up to a certain number of passengers. So if that flat rate is, say, $800, and you have 5 people,
You're looking at $160 a person.
right in line with, or even cheaper than, 5 tickets on a big commercial bus.
Really? So the break-even point is just 4 or 5 people?
Roughly, yes. And once you hit that break-even point, the value proposition shifts dramatically. The source highlights a testimonial from a family who said, "We thought private would be more expensive, but splitting it across our group actually made it cheaper than a bus tour."
And the kicker was what they said next regarding the experience itself. They mentioned skipping stops.
That's the key. It's the opportunity cost of your time. If you are on a big bus with 50 people, think about the logistics.
Oh, yeah.
You stop at a lookout. It takes 20 minutes just to get everyone off the bus. Then you have to wait for 50 people to use the restroom.
And then you have to wait for the 2 people who got lost in the gift shop buying magnet.
Oh, the mandatory gift shop stop. I hate those.
You just want to see the waterfall, but you're stuck looking at keychains.
Right. Private tours allow you to allocate your time. The source puts it perfectly. More time where you want it, less where you don't.
I love that phrase, more time where you want it, less where you don't. That should be the motto for all travel, honestly.
It really should. And it brings up an important point, that while Halia is compliant and private, they are not trying to be a limousine service.
Right.
It's not about champagne in the back seat. It's about getting to that hidden beach safely or finding the best food truck that the big buses can't fit in front of.
Speaking of finding the right tour, let's talk about reviews, because we all do it. We go online, we sort by top rated, and we just click the first one. But the source calls this a review minefield.
It is a minefield. The problem is that almost everyone has 5 stars, or close to it. Grade inflation is real in the tourism industry.
So how do you differentiate?
The guide offers some specific filtering tactics. First, look at how the company responds to negative feedback.
You mean if someone leaves a 1-star review?
Yes. Do they respond professionally and take responsibility? Do they say, we're so sorry, here's what happened?
Or do they get defensive and start arguing with the customer in the comments?
Exactly. That tells you so much about their character. If they're fighting with a customer online, imagine what they are like if you have a problem on the tour.
Good point.
And secondly, watch for unnatural keyword repetition.
What does that look like?
It's when a review reads, a bit like a robot wrote it to please a search engine. This was the best tour in Oahu, Hawaii, for our family vacation in Hawaii with the best guide in Honolulu.
Ah, gaming the algorithm.
Right. Real people don't talk like that. Real people say, Dave was a great guide and the snacks were awesome. If it sounds like an ad, it's probably a fake review.
That is a great tip. The source also mentioned a nuance about why private tours tend to have higher ratings naturally.
Yes, this is about selection bias. Private tours naturally tend to have more 5-star reviews because the experience is custom tailored.
Ah.
If you hate hiking, a private guide won't make you hike, so you have a great day. On a group tour, the itinerary is fixed. Someone on the bus might hate hiking and leave a 3-star review because they were forced to do an activity they didn't like.
That makes total sense. You're grading them on flexibility as much as the content. Okay, so you've checked the license, we've done the math on the private tour.
Filtered the robot reviews.
Filtered the robot reviews. Now, I want to talk about my favorite part of this deep dive, the community service hack.
This is fascinating. This is where we move from just consuming a vacation to actually participating in the place.
And the headline here is that you can save money by doing this. The source says you can save between $100 and $400 on the tour price.
Which is not a small amount of money.
No, it isn't.
It's a unique pricing model. They are incentivizing guests to give back. The way it works is you incorporate a service activity into your day.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here. I'm on vacation. I saved up all year for this. Why would I pay even a discounted rate to work?
I get it. Hey, welcome to Hawaii. Here's a trash bag.
Sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But the source frames it differently. It's not about grueling labor. You weren't digging ditches. One example given is an Oahu Circle Island tour, where guests stop to clean up a hidden beach, or they might remove invasive species from a specific area before moving on to the next fun stop. It's a short burst of effort.
And it aligns with that laid-back, authentic vibe we talked about. It changes the relationship between the tourist and the destination. You aren't just an observer behind glass. You are caring for the land. And the feedback in the source material suggests that for many families, especially those with kids, this actually becomes the highlight of the trip.
Really?
It feels good to leave a place better than you found it. You feel less like a tourist and more like a temporary local. You have skin in the game.
And getting a discount for it, that covers a lot of poke bowls.
It certainly does. And it fits the profile of the brand mentioned in the text. They position themselves as community-focused. This seems to be a core part of their identity, connecting guests to the real Hawaii, not just the resort bubble.
It's a really interesting value exchange. You give a little bit of sweat equity, you get a financial discount, and you get a deeper connection to the place.
And you know your money is going to an operator who cares about the island, not just the profit margin. It acts as another trust signal.
So let's zoom out a bit. We've gone through the red flags, the geography, the pricing models, and this community impact idea. If we're summarizing this for the listener who is sitting at that desk we talked about, getting ready to book their trip, what is the core takeaway?
I think the synthesis here is that a legitimate tour is defined by 3 pillars: compliance, safety, and respect.
Right.
Compliance is the boring but essential stuff. PUC, DOT permits. Safety is ensuring the people leading you are trained lifeguards if you're near water. And respect is knowing where you can and can't go, and maybe even leaving the place a little cleaner.
And from my perspective, it's about peace of mind. The source ends with a great line. Choose the tour that lets you focus on what matters most. Making memories, not worrying about logistics.
Right.
Because nothing ruins a memory faster than getting stranded because your van didn't have a sticker.
Or getting stung by a jellyfish because your guide didn't warn you.
Yeah, exactly. It's about doing the homework up front, checking those acronyms, doing the math on the group size so you can actually relax when you get there.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this community service model raises a really provocative question for the future of travel.
What's that?
We talk a lot about sustainable tourism, which is usually about doing less harm. But this is regenerative tourism, actually doing good. If tourists can save money by cleaning up the destinations they visit, could this model completely change how we vacation everywhere?
That is a cool thought. Imagine if every trip to Paris involved cleaning a park for an hour, or every trip to the Grand Canyon involved trail maintenance, and that made the trip cheaper.
It shifts the dynamic entirely. It makes tourism a force for repair rather than just consumption.
Well, there you have it. Before you book that ticket to paradise, check the PUC, count your group numbers, and maybe pack a pair of work gloves.
It might just be the best part of your trip.
Thanks for diving in with us.
Safe travels.